Avery, thanks for joining me for just a couple of minutes to share what your experience was in the goal setting boot camp. We've known each other for about almost 4 years. So tell me kind of what happened the first time you went and what happened as you progressed going through that boot camp on an annual basis.
Yeah, that's a good question, David. So I started Sandler in the beginning of 2016. And so it was the end of 2016 that I got to go to my first goal setting workshop. And I was really, really excited going in. I kind of had no expectations. I just knew that I would go in there and kind of dream. And a little bit of background is that mentally, emotionally, physically, I was probably not in the best place. I was working and I'm a people pleaser by nature. Like, I don't know if anyone can relate to that or not. But I had really fallen into this trap of living someone else's dreams for my life. And I had gotten those confused with that being what I wanted. So I went to this goal setting workshop and I was sitting by someone that I highly respect, who's very successful. And we're going through this dream board and cutting things out. And I remember sitting there and on the inside having a complete meltdown because suddenly these things that are supposed to be my dreams, my wants, these things that I'm going to make happen for the future, I had just gone blank because I didn't know what I wanted. Everything I was putting on that paper were things that my family wanted and things that other people wanted from me. And suddenly I realized that maybe I didn't know myself as well as I had thought. And it was a very painful experience for me. I'm not saying I left that first goal setting with warm butterflies because it was probably the opposite. If I admitted that I cried, I would probably be brutally honest right now. But that really changed. And so from that moment, I never wanted to feel that way again in a goal setting workshop because it's so incredibly powerful. And so I took it upon myself the next year to be intentional. And so I walked in and I had printed some stuff off and my dream board got a little bit better. And I accomplished quite a bit on it. But it was probably the next year. So it was 2018 dream board. So we were dreaming for 2019 that I had just really come full circle. I feel like that awakening that had happened in 2016 had made me realize and really get my rear into gear on figuring out what it was I wanted in my life, because I'm in my 30s pretty soon. If I don't start living for myself, I'm gonna wake up and it's gonna be over. And so I walked in so incredibly intentional. I felt completely on point, and it was bucket list items. One of it was a 2.5-week trip to Thailand where we went to the Lantern Festival. One of it was buying this investment property that we had wanted. It was my husband graduating for college, which I had paid for him. It was all these things that were going to be huge moments in my life that I knew for certain it was what I wanted. And so I put it on paper in 2018 in faith, and I hung it on my wall and I stared at it every single day. So fast forward to probably right about the goal setting workshop last year, and I was staring at my dream board and there was one thing that I hadn't done. And I am a perfectionist by nature, and so I started beating up on myself and having that negative head trash. And I'm like, man, girl, you didn't get that last thing. And trying to like pump myself up and be like, okay, it's okay, you didn't get it, you can get it next year. And it was buying this investment property. And so I was literally sitting there, that thought, and not 10 minutes later, I was walking out the door and I got a call from the house that we had dreamed. If you see my dream board, it's this perfect little gray bungalow. And we got a call from someone I had talked to that if just on a whim, I had said it 5 years ago, if you ever want to put your house up for sale, please call me. And they called me and they said, hey, we're retiring. Do you want to buy this house? And I literally said absolutely yes. And I ran to the dream board and I checked it off literally to do it. And I really feel like it's the power of positive thought going on the dream board. I'll be the first to say I didn't know how powerful it was. And even this year, I ended up changing mine because who could have expected COVID? And it's just still been a really big tool in my life. So does that answer your question, David?
Man, that is incredible. What a great story. And I remember kind of going through that from kind of the pit to the pinnacle as you went through that last year. It was such a big celebration, and everybody in the room who had been there, and almost everybody in our organization who takes training here, that's the big thing that they want to be involved with, is the goal setting one. But that's a great story. Thanks for taking a second just to share it, and hopefully that'll inspire somebody else who's trying to figure out what it is that they really want to go discover that and have the same kind of win that you did.
Yeah.
Thanks, Avery.
Thanks, David.